Hi, and welcome to Thrive Thursday. Each Thursday, I share a recipe with you that you can make using your Thrive Life freeze-dried food ingredients. I always say there's no excuse to live off beans and rice with your food storage when you can make amazing meals using freeze-dried foods. So do it. It's amazing. And try some of the freeze-dried foods. You will be surprised at the flavor. And the best thing, freeze-dried foods have like 25-year shelf life. It's insane. The texture, the flavor, the shelf life, and even the nutritional value can't be beat. For years, I've been a fan of freeze-dried foods. As always, you can get a link in the video description below to my website with Thrive Life, where you can purchase some of these products, or if you decide you want to build your food storage more than the average person, you can always sign up as a consultant and get a little bit of extra commission I consider it like an extra bonus kickback, right? Or a coupon, kind of. So, and also there will be a printable version of this recipe below in the video description. A link, it'll go to one of my blogs, and you can print that off if you like to have your paper recipes. But at any rate, please like and subscribe so that you can see our Thrive Thursday videos every week. And be sure to comment if you have any ideas, suggestions, or tell us what you think if you've tried the recipe or you want to try it, all that fun stuff. So with that being said, I will go ahead and tilt the camera down and show you today's recipe. I'm going to be making fruit salsa with homemade tortilla chips. So tortillas are actually pretty shelf stable. If you don't have them, they're really easy to make. They're basically like flour and water and salt. And you can find recipes for that super easy. So they're a really good food storage item. And all these ingredients are shelf stable, mostly freeze-dried foods, other than the tortilla and sugar and water. So it's a great food storage recipe. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tilt it down and let's show you our recipe this week. The first thing we're going to do is getting our tortillas. We are going to cut them into chips. Basically, you're just cutting them like a pizza. You'll cut 8 different chips per tortilla, and you can do however many you want. I think I had about 4 tortillas here, so we had about 32 chips. But it's really, you can make however many. There's no rhyme or reason. So just, you want to cut through all the layers of tortillas. I usually cut through 3 to 4 at a time just because it's faster. But once you have them all cut, simple as that, kind of like a pizza there, but now you can see they're little mini chips. Now I like to layer them on the pan reverse, back and forth this way, just because you can usually fit more on the pan. So you can put them however you want in the pan. This way, like I said, I fit the most, and they get evenly coated. So now we're going to spray them with I prefer the butter flavored spray. So you can use Pam spray. If you're not into this kind of spray, you can just spritz them lightly with water. All this does is the spray helps them crisp up, as well as it helps the cinnamon sugar stick to them. So now that we have them sprayed, we're going to sprinkle some cinnamon sugar on there. Like I said, you can do water instead of the cooking spray if you want. I like the butter flavored one. It just adds a little flavor to it, I think. But just make sure each chip gets a little bit of dusting of cinnamon sugar, and pop them in the oven for 350 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. While they're baking, we're going to make our salsa. So we're going to start with some Thrive Life freeze-dried raspberries. Now this is totally just eyeball it. It is, again, this isn't something you really have to measure. It's your preference. I did probably 1/4 cup of each of these berries. So strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries. But you can use blueberries, you could do bananas, you could do any fruit flavors you like. And depending on how much you're making, you just kind of adjust it as needed, and to your personal taste. That's what makes it great. Then once we have all them in there, you want to remember, for the fruit salsa, you don't necessarily want it pureed. You don't want it thin. I mean, you could, I guess, if you really like a thin salsa. But fruit salsa, this is really good if it's got some chunks in it. However, that being said, you don't want the whole berries either. So you want a happy medium of the texture, right? So you want to break up some of these freeze-dried berries. Now, if you break them up while they're dried, they break up really, really easy. So I just use the end of my rolling pin there, smash them up. Again, you don't want a fine powder, but you don't necessarily want a bunch of whole berries either. A few whole berries would be fine. You just want to break them up to kind of, because you're going to be scooping them with chips, right? So you want some bite-sized little chunks, and that's about it. So just using this, you could also put it in a Ziploc bag and use a rolling pin or a mason jar or cup or something like that. You just want to break them up a little bit, enough that they're not huge, big chunks, because those will get hard to scoop up with your chips. So doesn't take too much. Like I said, while they're freeze-dried, they're pretty dry and brittle, so it's pretty quick and easy that way. And you can see here in the bowl there, I've got there, you can see the chunks in it, but it's not too bad, right? That's about the texture, the consistency you want. If you're making this with fresh fruit, you would just cut the fruit up about those sizes. So now I'm going to add about half a cup of sugar. This, again, is just to your preference. If you like things a little more tart, or you know you're using some really sweet berries, you don't have to use as much sugar. If you like it sweeter, you can use more. And then I'm going to add half a cup of water. Now remember, between the sugar will help thicken up this salsa, but also the freeze-dried berries will absorb some of that liquid. So it will thicken up kind of like a thick jam. You just want to mix it together well enough that it's incorporated, and then we're just going to set it aside while our chips finish cooking and then cooling off. And by the time the chips are done, the salsa will be fully rehydrated. Go ahead and taste it, see if there's any more sugar you need or anything else like that. You're good to go. And then we have our final results, our fruit salsa and cinnamon chips. And there you have it. So after just a few minutes, you can see it's kind of like the texture of a jam, right? This is totally by taste. You can do whatever berries that you like, your personal favorite. When I make this with fresh ingredients, sometimes I add some of my homemade jam instead of sugar, and it gives that sweetness. If you like things tart, don't add the sugar. If you like it sweet, you can always add more. So there's our fruit salsa. And here's the chips. They just went nice and crisp. So I have some volunteers. Imagine that. We have some volunteers to sample. Okay, grab a chip. Okay, let's turn the camera down just a touch so that it'll... Cinnamon sugar. Okay. Oh, mine. Okay, go ahead and dip it in. See what you think. Your fruit salsa. You like it?
I can taste the raspberry.
Yeah.
And the cinnamon.
The raspberry is the strongest. There's raspberry, blackberry, and strawberry.
And the cinnamon.
Oh.
I forgot. I didn't know this was tortilla.
It
is.
is.
It was actually chips just covered in cinnamon.
No, it's just a tortilla. I baked it and made it into a chip.
Like,
oh, so good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to munch on this. So, try it out. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.